do you take all of that, leave the humans out, and everything is done and contained inside a DVD interactive program facilitating the learning process? The other part of that was, how do you begin to develop graphics that are culturally appropriate, that people will, that's going to look at it, will be able to begin to relate to what it is. We also felt that there's something very important about feeling that someone else is going through this program with you, and more importantly, that you can relate to some of the things that other parents may be experiencing that are going through similar kinds of problems or challenges with children of similar ages. So what we did, we developed what we call parent peer reinforcers and youth peer reinforcers that are embedded inside this technology program, and you can hear them conversing with each other, sometimes getting across messages that parents themselves don't want to easily talk about or youth don't want to easily talk about. But it was a mechanism whereby we could raise issues, oftentimes sensitive issues, where these virtual parents could talk about it and talk through it, then turn to the parent who was the user and say, so how does this relate to what you're going through right now? Giving them then a chance to drag, drop, click, point, in order to also reflect their feelings about what was going on. So we worked with the graphics designer, went through several iterations of our graphics so that we could make sure that they look aesthetically appropriate for the young people and the parents that's going to be part of our program. And this is a part of this interdisciplinary team working away, spending a lot of time on the on what we call an interactive base camp system where we keep all of our minutes. We meet through a virtual world, so the technology is being used not only for the purpose of developing this program, but it's how we have our regular meetings as well. That was our first face-to-face meeting last fall, and I'm recognizing the people at Vanderbilt that's been extremely instrumental in helping with this project, along with some consultants. Two of them are at the Center for Family Research, and then the technology team that I'm working with is called Cymbeline Systems out of Atlanta, with an instructional designer, a graphics artist, and a production developer. So I got so excited about technology usage that when we started recruiting our families for this study, I said to the staff, what if we begin to look at the use of infusing technology as we're making decisions about implementing the program? So I had one of the staff persons take a look at the counties where we're going to be doing, one of the counties where we're going to be doing our work, and show me where people are situated with regards to churches and schools, because churches and schools may be a community infrastructure that we can use to deliver this group-based program. So the dots that you see with the black speck in the center, those are some of the clustering of our families that have been selected to participate in the study. You can see then how close in proximity they are to the churches. Churches have the cross, schools have the flags. One thing that was very common to Georgia and Tennessee is that there are a lot of churches in these rural communities, and you can see them just clustered where you see Highway 54 there, which, by the way, goes down to Memphis. Then the other question that we had was, so what is a clustering of our sample looking like? So we wanted to look at, and we actually have these labeled by the condition in which they've been randomly assigned. So we can see whether or not we have really randomized people such that we have people in all three conditions living very close by, or have we somehow moved only one condition in one area in the county. So you can have a sense of knowing where they're clustering, the fact that some people are in real outlying areas. We're using this to make a decision about how many community centers do we need to subcontract with to offer these programs. And more importantly, we're able to look at retail stores and caterers in the community to find out where can we go to get people to do the catering for us when we're offering these programs. And we're using Walmart gift certificates as payment for our families. So the question that I had before we even decided to use Walmart gift certificate, how far are our families living from Walmart? Is it that we need to start thinking about giving them a gift certificate for a grocery store or Penny's because Walmart is too far away? Well, we now know, as all of us do, Walmart tends to be everywhere. So our families are residing most of them will live about 10 to 15 miles from Walmart, which would be an easy way for them to be able to get reimbursed or use the gift certificate that we're going to provide them for payment. So, in a rush manner of sharing this with you so that we can I'd like to talk with you about this as well, and that is that the future diffusion avenues of technology for rural families shows that this may be a format for us to begin to think about in terms of increasing people's access to information that can improve and enhance their lives. And that eventually, when this program is shown to be efficacious, then the next part would be to begin to make it available to people in much wider spread diffusion mechanism like the internet. And they're right in the program in a way that it would be very easy to then transport it into a web-based format. Few of the people in our communities right now have high-speed internet because the broadband hasn't moved into the areas where they are right now. But eventually, that will be the forum for which I'd like to share this information with our families. So in terms of next steps for me, I'm very interested in issues of dissemination and implementation. One is, how do you begin to bridge, as I mentioned earlier, and transport programs that have been controlled in a research environment for everyday life experience consumption of families? And how do you begin to market and package it so that healthcare providers and public health people and other human service agencies would begin to utilize it in a way that it won't create a lot of resource necessities for them to be able to implement it and use it for their families? And I've been intrigued of late by the utilization of what is called a decision-generated methodological approach, where you are able to determine the applicability of a program that was tested on a non-targeted population by looking at a methodology called the value of information. So how much information can you garner from doing a pilot study, a very small pilot randomized controlled trial, implementing a program on an audience for which the program wasn't designed for? That kind of information could be cost savings in that you don't have to spend the millions of dollars that it would require to see whether or not this program, for example, is applicable to urban African American families or to rural white families. And so I'm extremely interested in that, and also looking at the value of information for implementation in terms of what needs to be known if we're going to begin to infuse this program or have it adapted by schools, a juvenile justice system, faith-based organizations, and other health and human services. And that's all I have. Actually, my email address is up here, too.
Okay, well, we'll be posting this on the web. Let's take questions for Dr. Murray about this exciting extension of work, going from the complicated multiple decision points about translation, and turn up the lights so you can see you, and let's take questions. David.
Yes. The value of information? I know so little that I'm dangerous. Okay, so I'll tell you what I know. It's a methodological approach which really is a cost effectiveness analysis. So you would randomize it's a randomized control design similar to what we